Today I'm doing a Breaking Bad universe character tier list. The tiers from bottom to top go bad, mid, good, great, amazing, and perfect. So I'm just going to be judging the characters based on my opinion on that scale. And this is an online tier list, so if every character you like isn't in this tier list, then I'm sorry about that. But okay, we start out with Badger, and I think Badger is a solid friend to Jesse. Sometimes he isn't the best. I do think Skinny Pete's like the better of the two friends, but he is still a solid friend. Does he deserve mid or good? In the grand scheme of things, I feel like he might be a mid character, but he is kind of funny and he is kind of innocent when it comes down to it. Likes to smoke a bowl sometimes, but doesn't do much harm otherwise and helps Jesse out a lot. So I'll put him in good hesitantly, but he is closer to mid than he is to great for sure. Next, we have Chuck McGill, and this is the dilemma where you hate the person's actual character and who they are on the inside, but as a character in the show, they do play their part well, and they are significant, and they impact the story in a significant way. You know, I think we all kind of hate Chuck in the moments he's alive for what he says about Jimmy and how he treats him, but looking back on it retrospectively, he actually kind of ends up being right about him, which I think is part of what makes Jimmy/Saul's story so tragic. And so I'm going to put Chuck, see, like from a writing standpoint, I think he deserves great. From like a likability standpoint, it would be like bad. So I'll go good, but he is higher in that good than Badger. Obviously, like the quality of his character is much higher than Badger's, but the likability factor drags him down for me. So I try to consider both of those elements. Next, we have the Salamanca twins, and they're going to go in mid, I believe. They have a cool presence and an aura to them, I guess you could say, in the show, but every time they come around, low-key after a while, I just started rolling my eyes like, okay, who are they going to kill this time? You know, it got to be a little much at points, but definitely their showdown with Hank is one of the best moments in Breaking Bad, and they do add excitement to the show. They do have a mystique to them, but I got tired of them after a while. Next, we have Steve Gomez, and I think I'm going to stay in this good category. I do think maybe he had some of the weaker acting chops in the show. It's not like he was one of the main characters, so you don't need to be phenomenal, I guess. But maybe not the best actor, but still like a good, decent, likable guy. I guess I'll put him in good for that reason. And here, good isn't actually like crazy good because, you still have 3 categories above that. So he's an all right, solid character. I'll slot him into the good thing based on this format. Next, we have Gus Fring, and folks, this is going to be your first perfect of the day. I think Gus is the perfect villain. He's menacing. He's calculated. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, stays even keeled, and is just like a cold-blooded man. But he can act, he can assimilate with society. He can act like he's just a normal guy. He can communicate with law enforcement. He can convince them that he's just a hardworking business owner that is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Charitable. That's it. So he really just has it all going for him. From every aspect you look, he's an awesome villain. His entrance, some of the things he says, some of the quotables he leaves with us, and then, we get his backstory in Better Call Saul, and then we see how he goes out in Breaking Bad. All legendary stuff surrounding Gus. And next we have Hank, another great character. Here I think I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go amazing with Hank. He provides a lot in terms of the comedy and action in the show. Of course, the nucleus of the show to me was always the relationship with Walt and when he would eventually uncover the facts about what Walt's really been up to. And it comes in a very unpredictable manner at a very unpredictable time, but it eventually does happen as I was expecting for so long, honestly. And Hank, despite his imperfections, he's not the most politically correct guy. He doesn't always treat Marie the best, especially when he's going through a lot of difficulties with his partial paralysis. And I'm sure that's tough for him to go through, but he could have been a little more nice and, forgiving of her when she made like little mistakes and stuff. Overall, he still is a good guy that's fighting for the greater good, though. And once he figures out how evil Walt has been all this time, he really tries to take him down. And I think the audience obviously has to be on his side. And then it's really just tragic how he goes out. So really good guy and amazing character to me. Next, we have Hector Salamanca, who's really just kind of the helpless old man in Breaking Bad. But then when you get Better Call Saul later on, which is really the prequel, you get to see a little bit more about how he's ruthless, and he's kind of even worse than Gus in terms of just being like this vicious, authoritarian drug ruler and just whatever he says goes, or you're going to be, not good things are going to happen to you. So it was interesting seeing about him. I think I'm mid or good. I guess he's mid to me. He's a villain, and to me, like, Gus was made into an interesting villain. To me, Hector's more along the lines of just what you would expect, like just a scumbag. I mean, his inclusion fits, and it's necessary to understand the whole process and the whole lore and the whole hierarchy of leadership within the drug cartel, but, like, I don't like him at all. Next, we have Howard Hamlin, and talking about tragedy, a lot of tragedy goes on with this guy, especially toward the end of the show, and how he unfortunately meets his demise and didn't deserve it. I will say I feel really bad for him because of that, and I think he got done so dirty by Kim and Saul later on in the show. But early on in the show, I wasn't really a big fan of him. I just thought he was kind of like stuck up, and I didn't like his like real robotic walk. So he kind of annoyed me, but then like you end up feeling really bad for him because of what he goes through and how he goes out. So kind of mixed feelings on him. I'm just gonna put him in good. I'll put him at the top of good. No. He's below Chuck. I'll put him below Chuck. Why not? Next is Huel, and this is another case of a character that becomes much more significant once you get the piece of the puzzle that is Better Call Saul. And a solid guy, always has Saul's back for better or for worse. Kind of funny at times, even though he's soft-spoken. I'll put him at the very bottom of good. Next, we have Todd's father. I don't even care to have the respect for this man to say his name. I'm glad that I don't remember it making this video. He's going to go in bad without much further discussion. Absolute scum and a disgrace to the earth. Next, we have Jane, at least on screen for us, Jesse's first true love. And like I feel like I've already said a couple times, and I'll probably continue to say for a few more characters, she goes out tragically. She had been getting a lot better on her journey with drugs and, addiction. And then Jesse came back into the fold and unfortunately was a little bit of a bad influence on her. And once she got a little taste of it again, she was back hooked. And then she got even more extreme with it than Jesse, and she started being a little crazy again. And even though I didn't really like what her character was turning into right before her death, it was just kind of to show us, I think, the struggle of addiction and how easy it is to fall back into that life. So I did feel bad for her ultimately, and especially for her dad with how torn apart he was about it in the end. So yet another good character here. I'll put it above Badger, above Steve Gomez too. In between Steve and Howard is where I'm going to place her. And so next, that naturally leads into Jesse Pinkman. Jesse is awesome. Jesse is my favorite character in this universe. I'm not going to mince words here. I'm not going to hold it back to make you guys think, oh, where am I going to place him? He is imperfect. Countless moments. I would need a whole video to talk about this guy and why I love him so much. Everything you want in a show, you can get through the character of Jesse Pinkman. Happiness, laughter, crying, heartbreak, action, moments of deep self-contemplation. You get everything with Jesse, and ultimately he proves to have maybe the biggest heart of anyone in either of these shows. A person that really has a kind and natural soul that really just got into the wrong lifestyle and maybe wasn't the brightest kid, so he didn't grow up to be have an illustrious profession, and so he thought this was his only option. But I really think if he would have been steered down a better path, he could have avoided a lot of these things and just been the good, nice, kind young man that he was. And I always did love throughout the show how they emphasized how much Jesse cared about kids. There were several different scenarios where he was around kids. In the episode where the ATM is crushing those drug dealers, he is the only one caring for that little kid that's all dirty in the back room. The parents don't care at all. They're just trying to get some drugs. But he's caring for that kid. Of course, he develops a super special relationship with Brock and would do anything for him. And then there's a couple other scenarios throughout the show. So Jesse just has such a kind heart. But that's my Jesse spiel. Now on to another legendary character of Saul Goodman, and there can't really be any hesitation here either. He's got to go up in perfect, and I forgot to reorder these. So I have Saul up in perfect as well. Saul's absolutely incredible. I loved him in Breaking Bad, and then I was blown away when I saw how layered his character became in Better Call Saul. And it just goes to show that sometimes people never change, and sometimes even if you don't like the truth, it is the truth. And I do think there was always somewhat a truth about Jimmy. He was given many options to escape the lifestyle he was heading toward in Better Call Saul, and he kept choosing it. I think he liked the thrill of trying to get people out of trouble, and then how that inherently put him in trouble and he had to get himself out of a jam. He liked twisting people's thoughts and twisting his own words to get himself out of sticky situations. It was just who he was. He actually enjoyed that process, I think. And then, of course, it made him a lot of money, and I think there was some greed involved too, but it was just kind of his genetic makeup and who he was. And much like a lot of these amazing characters, there could be so much analysis on him, but I'm going to leave it there. He was awesome, super funny and charismatic, of course, but also kind of has a tragic arc and downfall. Next is Kim Wexler, and I absolutely love her. I believe my favorite female character in this whole Breaking Bad universe, and she is going to go ahead and earn herself a spot up at Amazing. The question is it above or below Hank? I actually think it might be above. I'm not going to lie to you. I absolutely love Kim, and yet another character with an interesting character arc, maybe not as drastic as a lot of others in these shows, but she even starts to slip and kind of, I guess, slip along with Slip and Jimmy in Better Call Saul. The more and more she starts working with him and, accommodating his lifestyle, the more shady her practices become. And I really found it interesting that even she fell into some of his tricks that he would perform, because she always seemed to be straight as an arrow and on the beaten path. But he, with how mischievous he is, even sucked her into that lifestyle as well. And I also just like that for a while she was centered and balanced and tried to help Jimmy out and was loyal to him no matter what. Next we have Lalo, the character that is infamous for really upping the intensity and the stakes of Better Call Saul. I love his presence in the show. He is a villain done really well as well. Doesn't have quite as much of a presence and isn't there for as long as Gus as far as in the whole Breaking Bad universe, or otherwise he could have been maybe at the top 2. And I did kind of prefer still like the archetype of Gus and how he was just like a quiet and menacing villain. But I am going to put Lalo up in, there's nobody in the great category yet, but I think he's amazing. I don't think I can put great. I don't know if we're going to get any greats at this point, honestly, because I guess actually, no, you know what? I'm going to put him in great. I feel like a lot of people would have him in amazing or perfect, but like I mentioned, he's not in the show for all that long. And even though I think he's a really good and interesting villain, and like I said, ups the stakes perfectly. I mean, his inclusion was much needed to pick up the pace of Better Call Saul. I didn't love like his personality and stuff. He like irked me, and I just knew he was going to get what he wanted 99% of the time. And it was just awful to watch sometimes. But still really good television, if you know what I mean. All right, so now this is Lydia, the boss lady that Walt completely destroys at the end of the show with a very savage final move from him. She sucked. I didn't like her. She'll be in bad. She'll be above that dirtbag right there, but she's still going to be pretty low on this tier list. Next is Marie. I actually think I'm higher on Marie than most people. I think she's actually pretty cool. Other than like her early in the show stealing stuff, which I think was really just to show how Skyler would react to like a relatively minor crime, like stealing like a little tiara, as opposed to, later on in the show, Walter becoming a drug kingpin. I think that's really why they included that early on. But other than that, I think she was a cool, chill character, tried to support Hank, tried to do what was right more times than not, had a better moral compass than most after the whole stealing debacles. So, I'm going to put her in good, and it's going to be actually the top of good. I really like Marie. All right, next we have Mike Ehrmantraut, another legend. I mean, this show has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. They just got so many legends on this show. Mike, you're a goated character, man. Pragmatic problem solver. No nonsense. Gets the job done. He's going to be up here. Is he above or below Hank? I'm not going to make that call right now. They're both up there. Actually, is he above or below Kim? Yeah, I'm actually going to put him at the top of Amazing. What am I thinking? Yeah. All right, Kim won't move over, so we're going to have to deal with it. Anyway, next we got Nacho. Nacho is another personal favorite character of mine. I guess if I like Jesse, I'm going to love Nacho as well, because Nacho is essentially the Jesse of Better Call Saul. Pretty similar character arcs. Obviously, the specifics of their storylines are different, but overall, it's kind of like, the guy that got in the business too early and really has a good heart, but he's kind of stuck now and can't get out of this cycle and this process, but he's better than this lifestyle. So they're pretty similar. Obviously, Jesse's better and more goated, I think, but Nacho goes out with flames in his eyes. You got to love that final scene, even though it's heartbreaking. And I do feel bad for him. And I liked his interesting kind of like father-son low-key relationship with Mike that slowly develops throughout the series. Next, we have Skinny Pete, the GOAT. Like I said earlier, definitely the better friend of him and Badger, I think. I don't have beef with Badger. It's just like Badger like was a little bit too much of a goof off sometimes, and Skinny Pete like really helped Jesse out, especially in El Camino. Really helped him flee the police and everything. So Skinny Pete for me, not significant enough to go above a lot of these characters, but he's going to go in the good tier between Jane and Steve Gomez. I think that's a fitting spot for him. Now we get to Skylar White, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like think this through and determine where I'm gonna put everybody beforehand, so I actually do have to think about this for a second. I don't know exactly where I should put her. I do think she might be slightly overhated in terms of like her actions throughout the show, because I do think when you take like a broad view of everything, she is ultimately a victim in all this. But for a while, she does think it's the better option to be complicit with and assist Walt in some of his shady activities. So I guess she loses some of her innocence, but ultimately it was Walt's fault. And the quality of the acting and the actual character writing is all there too, I think. So does she deserve great? I think she probably does. Once again, she's not likable whatsoever. She has some of the cringiest scenes of all time. The birthday singing thing was awful, as you all know. But I think all in all, she was a much needed presence in the show. I don't like her personality, but as a character, acting and writing wise, I think she's pretty solid, or even better than solid. Just a few more to go here, and a couple of these are going to be pretty low. We have Ted Beneke. Could never stand this guy, man. Always had another excuse. Just, had the affair with Skylar. Can't stand this guy. He's going in bad. Above these people because he's not, like, as bad as, like, Lydia and this awful guy, but still a bad character to me. Hate him. And you know what? I forgot about the affair. You know what? We're moving Skylar down to the top of good. We're not letting that slide. Oh, well. Next, we have Todd, another scumbag, piece of trash on this earth. Killed a kid off a bike for basically no reason. So Todd's awful. I know what people are going to say in the comments, but oh, he's such a good villain. Oh, I don't care. I absolutely can't stand him. He's going at the bottom. Next, we have Tuco. Once again, awful person. I do think he moves me a little bit more as a villain and like gets me a little more excited about those action scenes and the scenes between the protagonists and the antagonists. Has a little more mystique around them than just those dirt balls on the bottom. I know I keep referring to them as that, but it's true. Where'd I put him? Oh, here he is. My bad, guys. I messed up the tier list a little bit. Alrighty. I'm going to put Tuco in... Once again, I'm going to put him in good. Why not? We got this good category completely stacked right now. I'll put him right above... right above Jane here. So now we just have the two Walts left, and then this tier list will be concluded. Here we have Walt Jr. I think Walt Jr. is going to go... You know what? We're going to show some love to Walt Jr. No. Yeah, Walt Jr. is going to go in good. So the good category got very stacked in this video. I guess that's just kind of where a lot of the characters fall. They're either like amazing or perfect or kind of just in that good range. I don't think there's a whole lot of bad characters other than just like the objectively awful people that I can't stand to put any higher. So I think that's why there's so many people in the good for me here. Widely regarded as one of the best characters in television history. We have Walter White next, and he's got to go in perfect. For me, not my favorite character. I have him at number 2. Obviously, masterfully written. I think from like kind of like an objective standpoint, I guess you could say, he is the best character in this universe and one of the best and craziest character arcs of all time. But I personally have more of an attachment to Jesse, and I choose Jesse's love and his heart to outweigh him in terms of my favoritism toward the characters. But nonetheless, Walter is still up in this perfect category in terms of the tier list. If you guys have seen the show, you know how complicated a character he is, so I can't really do it justice by describing him right now. Just know that I absolutely respect and marvel at the character arc, where he started to where he went out at. It's truly the journey of a lifetime and makes this show one of the best ever. But yeah, that's my tier list today, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Who was too high? Who was too low? Should I have filled that great category up a little bit more? Now I'm feeling a little bit of regret. Maybe could have put characters like Chuck, Skylar, I don't know, a couple others up there maybe, but I made the decisions in the moment, and I'm going to stick with it. If you guys enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to my channel for future TV and movie content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.